Hello, 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 all you Stack Plus preppers. Welcome back to IT Dojo's Security Plus questions of the day. I'm Colin Weaver, and every single day I ask you 2 questions for you to ponder and contemplate. Let's get right to it. Okay, question number 1, coming at you today from the world of risk management. In order to mitigate privilege creep, which of the following should an employer implement and enforce? Click pause, give those items a read, and then when you're ready, click pay and we'll break it down. Okay, first choice on the list, mandatory vacation. That's a negative. Mandatory vacation in a security context is typically used to be able to go in and detect fraud that's occurring, very commonly associated with the banking industry. So that's not the answer that we're looking for here. Second choice on the list is regular user account audits. Absolutely. This is all about account management. There should be a process in place where on a regular basis, accounts get audited to determine what their appropriate privilege levels are and whether or not those privilege levels are in effect. When people move from one role to another in an organization, it's very common for them to get new privileges without their old privileges being taken away. And this allows for privilege creep to occur within the organization. We don't want that. Next contender is time of day restrictions. Nope, time of day restrictions is not going to help you with privilege creep. Next guy on the list is strong password policy. No, well, absolutely you want to have a strong password policy. It's not a solution that protects you with issues regarding privilege creep. And then the final item on the list was vulnerability assessments. Vulnerability assessments are definitely great and a good thing to do, but again, don't really help you with privilege creep in this regard either. So regular account audits is really the most appropriate thing that should be being done here. Okay, question number 2 today comes at you from the world of computer forensics. As part of your computer forensic investigation, you have to be able to prove that a particular piece of evidence was in a particular place at a particular time and in a particular condition. What is this more commonly known as? Take a moment, read through the answers. When you feel like you got it, click play, and then we'll go on and we'll break it all down. First item on the list is continuity of operations. It has nothing to do with computer forensics. So no, that's just there to mess with you. Hopefully it didn't. Next item on the list is the best evidence rule. No, the best evidence rule is a rule that says that the original evidence is the best evidence. That gets a little wonky, or at least at one point was a little wonky when you're dealing with computer evidence, because computer evidence, historically is like stuff stored on a magnetic hard drive. When you make a printout of it, that's not the original, that's a facsimile of it, that's a copy of it. However, the federal rules of evidence have since changed those rules to say that if you have a printout of the actual digital evidence, that it's considered original and it's considered best evidence. So even though best evidence is something that we love in the legal world, it is not the answer that we're looking for right here. Next choice is your right answer, chain of custody. Okay? Chain of custody applies in the world of I don't want to say real forensics, in crime scene forensics and the preservation of evidence. And the same thing applies in the digital world of forensics, where you have to make sure that when you collect evidence, you do so in a way that is appropriate for the type of evidence that it is, and that you account for who collected it, how it was transported, who transported it, where it was held, how it was held, so that you can account for the evidence for the duration of its time with the powers that be up until the point that it's ultimately returned back to whoever owns the piece of information or the piece of evidence that you're dealing with. It's not a piece of information, it's a thing. Okay. But definitely chain of custody is what we're looking for here is the right answer. Other item on the list, exclusionary rule. Exclusionary rule is simply a rule that goes in and states that if evidence is collected in a way that's not legal, it's more than likely not going to be admissible. So again, not the answer that we're looking for here. And then the very last item on the list is quality control. Again, no, quality control is not what this is going in and defining. Chain of custody is your deal. Okay, that was quick. 2 more questions down. First question went in and dealt with privilege creep and what can we do to go in and try and mitigate it. Second question was basically what's the definition of chain of custody and how does that apply in the world of computer forensics? So I hope you found these questions useful as you continue to study. Click on like, please, if you like those questions. If you want to get them every day, click on subscribe because I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'll see you then.